right, so you begin making a handle by choosing a good piece of clay. If your clay has any dry parts that are inside it that are different from the wet parts that are near it, you need to try again. Wedge your clay and get something good. This is a nice new piece of clay. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna smack it into a cone. It should be like a fat carrot. You can also choose to roll it on a table. Until you have something that is nicely tapered. It's important that it goes from being fat to thin evenly. And then you're gonna run some water. You only need a little bit. Then you get your hand wet and you hold it. If you're right-handed, you hold it in your left. If you're left-handed, you'll do the reverse hands. You get your hand wet, and you get just the bottom part wet. And then what you're gonna do is you're going to use your entire hand to wrap around it and squeeze while you pull down. It's important to keep it wet. You keep adding water and you just rub your hand, applying gentle pressure. Notice that I'm alternating my hand direction from here to here. That helps to keep it even. And I'm just gonna pull back and forth until I have something that looks nice. Here are a couple things not to do. Don't squeeze a little dip into your piece and keep going. At this point, you pull that off. That's not a keeper anymore. You set it aside. And you can just pull some more of your fat part down into the clay. If you get a little ripple or anything on your edge, you can just run your thumb over it. If at any point there seems to be any cracking like there is here a little bit, I would just run my finger over it to try to take care of it. As I finish my handle, I want to consider the size and its appropriateness for my piece. If it's too big, you can keep pulling. If it's too small, you start again. And then last move I might do is to create a little ridge down the middle with my thumb. The more fluid your movement, the prettier it will look. You can also do the sides a little bit. And from here, I'm going to take my piece and I'm going to put it in a curve on its side. And I have one that's already here. And I'm gonna just go ahead and put it next to it. And I'm gonna put it in a curve like this because that's roughly the curve that I'm going to want. This one, I'm like a cooking show, has already been sitting for a little while. You wanna let it set until it's just firm enough that it's flexible, but which can hold its curve without support. If it can't do that, wait a little bit, but don't blow dry it too much because it needs to stay flexible. Now I'm gonna go ahead and attach it. So I'm considering the size of the piece that I'm attaching it to, which is relatively small, and I'm considering the area where I want to attach it. A strong handle will be attached somewhere close to the top and not come down too far or be excessive or too small. So you want to consider it in proportion. I'm going to start mine about here and stop it about here because I think that that will create a nice little size for my piece. So I'm going to come back to my handle. And I'm gonna go ahead and cut a flat cut on it. And I'm gonna just check that out for size. So I'm gonna put it on just kind of loosely. That still seems a little bit large to me, so I'm gonna set it back down. I'm gonna cut a little bit more off, just flat. And it's important that it be pretty straight. Okay, now I'm thinking that looks about right. And I think it's gonna come to about there. Checking myself, and then I'm going to pinch off the extra that I don't need. I'm going to set this aside. And then I'm going to slip and score to prep my area. That's a bit more slip than I needed, but it will do. I want to make sure that I'm directly across from my spout. I don't want to do it off center. So I'm going to check that I'm right across from my spout before I score the area. I want it to look really juicy. I often say it should look like hamburger meat that is not cooked. Okay, and I'm prepping my areas. Now I'm going to prep my handle with a little slip. And I know that this area down here, I already have some slip on that. Got slip all over my hands, so I can just prep that. This is the most important move. You're going to hold inside where you're going to attach it. You're going to put it there and you're going to do a little back press. So you hold it there and you kind of just milk your fingers along your handle and apply pressure. That's it. You don't want to fuss at it. If you do any more, it's going to look bad. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it where I think it should go, and I'm gonna just press it on. From here, I can choose to just round out the bottom like that, or if I wanted to, I could blend it in this way. But here's something that you don't want to do. You don't want to keep pushing up and pushing up until you run out of handle. That's something that I've seen happen before. At this stage, you can clean it up, but you don't want to go too crazy because it's much better to do more cleaning later. You can use a little sponge, or even better, you can use a wet paintbrush to tidy up just the excess stuff that has oozed out. But you really don't want to touch the handle again until it's leather hard. And that's how you put on a handle. Here's how you know you've put it on too wet. It starts to do that. If it can't hold itself up, put it where you need it and blow dry it there. I've gone and done it. And if it looks ugly inside, you can run your finger up under it and kind of just give it a boost. And that's handles.